Hi, I'm Rainer and welcome to a new video. In this video I will be talking about forms or team strategies to beat red with as few Pokemon as possible. Let's get started with it, and first of all we will begin with one of the experimental ones that I have found recently. I made contact myself thanks to the help of a room member that commented about me that in Team Porygon there was a member called Secret who did a two-man army to beat red using a level 1 Aron and a Moxie Honchkrow. Now, obviously, Endeavor is gonna be in the radar for nerfs, so obviously I'm not doing that. However, I think that one way of trying to cheese with it, but not be really being cheese because a move is technically an honorable way of using it against red, would be Nosepass. And the main reason why Nosepass over Aron is because also they have both differences and one of them plays around things better than the other. For example, Aron, yeah, it can put anything to 1 HP thanks to Endeavor, but the problem with Aron, if it's lead Espion, the Espion is gonna kill himself with the Life Orb, so you cannot get the Moxie boost, and you have to do blind Honchkrow against anything that the red can go, because he can go to any of the 5 Pokemon. Most normally Snorlax with Reflect Up. Nosepass bypasses that by, instead of trying to lower the HP as fast as possible to 1, by using Pain Split, which is the main way of moves. Like, since you're level 1, obviously, you're gonna be cutting your opponent's HP in half while you're healing to full HP because you're a level 1 Pokemon against level 100. And especially, having Pain Split against Snorlax leads helps you out on stalling out the turns of Reflect. So for those who don't know, Red has a new or an interesting mechanic that is that every time one of his Pokemon enter the battlefield, he will activate an enter of battlefield move. Charizard has Sunny Day, Blastoise has Rain Dance, and the list goes on. In the case of Snorlax, it has Reflect, Pikachu has Nasty Plot, Venusaur has Light Screen, and finally Espion has Wish. Also just to note, every single one of his Pokemon has Healing ability, except for what we know is Snorlax, which has Thick Fat. With that out of the way, let's explain why it's important to have Pain Split on Nosepass. Obviously, you want to stall out turns of Reflect, because if Snorlax lead, you don't want it to have the Reflect Up for neither himself or for the teammates of Snorlax, so that Honchkrow then can clean up everything. Nosepass, more importantly, can also learn Stealth Rock, same with Aron, but the differences are very clear, because Nosepass can heal himself to full HP while dealing damage, and has the liberty of using a different an item slot, instead of Aron, which can technically put anything to 1 HP at the cost of either only able to do it once, and not being able to play around Paralysis or Frozen, or it plays around that by using a Lumberry, but it cannot do anything else other than that. Nosepass has the middle ground, in which it can use Pain Split to lower the HP manually, Stealth Rock to set up the hazard as an assistance to be able to kill everything on Red's team. It's not mandatory, but if you need to, it helps out. And Lumberry plays around status conditions once. Obviously Pikachu, for what I know, Pikachu will never go for the Thunder, or will very rarely go for it, because it's 70% accuracy instead of 100 on everything. But I know for a fact that, for example, Blastoise will always go for Ice Beam, because it tries to prioritize the status move, the 10% chance of freezing, as a failsafe to not get cheesed. Same with Snorlax using Body Slam. So in that case, obviously Lumberry is important because it plays around those, for once at least. Obviously for Ice Beam to freeze you twice, he will need to do a 1% free chance, which is 10% the first time and 10% the second. And also in the second time, you have to not thaw out instantly, so there's that also. Other than that, it's very straightforward. It's a level 1 Nosepass with Sturdy, Pain Split, and Stealth Rock. Nothing else to say about. And Hunch Crow, which is the main carry. IVs, EVs, and Nosepass doesn't matter, by the way. And Hunch Crow, which is the main carry. You want to give it a life form because it gives it an edge to be able to one-shot a full HP Snorlax through Reflect with +1, thanks to Superpower, which I will get to the move pool later, but bear with me. So, Hunch Crow, here it is, Adamant. You want Adamant because it's the best nature possible, reduces special attack, which we are not using, and it boosts attack, which we are gonna be using, especially with Moxie. EV investments, straightforward, max HP, max attack, max speed, and the remainder go everywhere else. Like, doesn't matter really where the 6 remaining go. I will go for the special defense just because, and also because Tentacle is a good horde if you want to level. If you don't have the ways of leveling on Mount Silver, just do it on Battle Frontier in Hoenn and you will be fine. As for IVs, 31 attack, 31 speed, and the rest doesn't matter because we are trying to one-shot everything. We are not trying to play around, oh well, technically Venusaur can hit you once, or blah, or yada yada yada. No, we're not playing around shit. We are trying to one-shot everything with one button at a time. Also, one thing to note, things were max speed on Hunch Crow, except for the nature, obviously, because we're Adamant, we're not Jolly. We have the benchmark of over 240 speed, which if you people remember, if you remember C4B's video about doing his attempt at beating Red with only 3 Pokemon, we know that Poliwrath is fast. A 252 speed Poliwrath with no speed nature outspeeds the Venusaur without Sun. This is a bit higher of a benchmark. Instead of being 239 speed, it's 241, but it serves the same purpose. We are faster than Venusaur outside of Sun, and if it's in Sun, if we have enough pulse of Moxie, we can just kill it with Sucker Punch, so it doesn't matter. Now for the moves, very straightforward. We need Sucker Punch with PP Max because we will need the. Sometimes it matters that you need to use 6 Sucker Punch. Other times it doesn't matter and you only use 5. And there's other times that you use 7 because Snorlax for some reason wants to troll and click fucking rest. So there's that. Other than that, Superpower to kill Snorlax in the last. If he sends it out as the last slot. If he sends it as first slot, we just kill it with Sucker Punch because there's a math out where if you use Pain Split thrice and then use Stealth Rock, you always get the Snorlax into KO range of Sucker Punch. And also you stall out the 5 turns of Reflect, which is very important. Aerial Ace is to one-shot Venusaur outside of Sun, but if you are under Sun, you have to use Sucker Punch and risk it. And finally, Protect is a way of making it so that if Charizard comes out as the second Pokemon and we don't have Stealth Rock, because let's say we are in the Espeon lead matchup, Nosepass is facing Espeon, we use Protect once to make it so that Charizard takes chip damage from his own Solar Power, and then we kill it with Sucker Punch. Because +1 Sucker Punch it does around 88% at minimum with Life for Sucker Punch. So that if you make it chip it once with the Solar Power, you guarantee the Sucker Punch, and once you are +2, you can win everything. Because you one-shot Pikachu, you one-shot Espeon, you one-shot Venusaur, you one-shot Blastoise, and finally when Snorlax comes out with Superpower. Very straightforward. This is the first of the 2 versions of beating Red that I want to showcase. Obviously, Nosepass is a bit of a trick. Also, it can be nerfed. This is not nerf proof. Obviously, Endeavor is gonna be nerfed first. If they look up into Pain Split strategies, obviously they're gonna nerf that too. But I don't think they will nerf Pain Split necessarily, because Pain Split has a novelty of being a very good move on certain ghost types against Red himself. It's not a cheese move. It just so happens that Nosepass itself, being a level 1 Pokemon that gets Sturdy and Pain Split, is cheesy. So maybe they nerf Sturdy against Red, which would be a better way of nerfing the way. And in that way they wouldn't have to nerf Endeavor, they wouldn't have to nerf Pain Split. But for the way I know, yeah, Pain Split is a novel way of doing the battle, and it's not that cheesy. And also you can, Endeavor is more skillful because if you, Pain Split is more skillful because if you use Pain Split at the correct times, you can heal yourself, and if you know in the Espion matchup that it kills himself with its own life orb, you can, instead of using Pain Split and failing, you can use Stealth Rock for free, which is amazing. Now for Showcase, I want to show you the fight, then I'm going to cancel the battle, and then I'm going to go and do, what is it? I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to show you the Team 2, which I have here in the back. So we're going to start the battle, I'm going to do a Showcase, and I'm going to show you then the Team 2, with the Showcase itself. So it wants a fair fight, doesn't matter. Pikachu lead. I'm not gonna put the music because it's more fitting. Obviously, we're gonna just... in the Pikachu matchup, it's very interesting because you can technically... You one-shot Pikachu without even using Pain Split. You can just click Stealth Rock if you want. And I'm gonna do that. Yeah. It wants to use Thunder for some reason, so... Fine. Very straightforward. And now I'm gonna just Rock Blast. I don't want to do enough damage to kill it, so that it survives a Stealth Rock. Doesn't want to, so it doesn't. Wow, it's missing miserably the Thunders. Okay, so I'm gonna just okay, it killed me, perfect. And now we can do the magic with Honchkrow. Honchkrow comes in, steals the kill with Sucker Punch. Now it gets +1. It's very straightforward, this fight. Like, Nosepass sets up what it needs to do. Also, for some reason, Red, they haven't made properly his AI. They made Red's AI be the same like your average NPC from a trainer rerun. Like the Gentleman Jan from fucking Route 13 Unova. It's the same fucking AI. It's depressing, yes. And that's why he sent out Espion, even though I'm a Dark type, with Sucker Punch. And, well, as you can see, you can pretty much one-shot everything. When I beat all 5, and the last Pokemon standing is Snorlax, I'm gonna cut the recording, and I'm gonna go for the second team. Which should be a pretty... Like, you can see, once you're getting boost, once you get +2, Blastoise didn't tank anything, and is the tankiest of the 3 that isn't Snorlax. Also, the reason why he's not sending out Snorlax is because he doesn't see that he has Reflect Up into his moveset, so that he just doesn't use it at all. And yeah, and also because it's the slowest. He doesn't send out Snorlax until the last slot because it sees that Snorlax is the slowest member of his team. Which, fair enough, it is. Now I'm just gonna cut the recording and I'm gonna see you on the other side. Now for Team 2, here is the second variation that I want to use and showcase. If this is a 3-mon way of doing it, you mainly want to use Chansey, Chandelure, because it's a ghost type that has Trick or Switcheroo, mainly. I will prefer to use either Gengar or Chandelure, but I prefer Chandelure because it has higher special attack stat and it can, in some cases, one-shot the Pikachu, and Espion, and Charizard, and Venusaur, in case you need it, instead of just actually doing a 6-mon sweep with just the third Pokemon, which in this case can be any setup sweeper that is not a ghost type. Okay, so this is the checkboxes you want to check in your sweeper. it either has higher than 120 base speed, because it needs to outspeed both the Pikachu and Scarf Blastoise, or it follows in the same category, is not a Ghost type, is not a Flying type, it learns as a boosting move that boosts both an offensive stat that is gonna use to sweep, plus speed, or, yeah, mainly that, but the main premise is not a Ghost type, is not a Flying type. You are equipping the Air Balloon, and it has to have a boosting move that boosts both an offensive stat and speed. In this case, I'm gonna use Cloyster. Why? Because Cloyster can transition into a trainer rerun if you want. Also, if you already have a Cloyster for a trainer rerun, you can just use it here. The same with Chansey. If you have a Chansey from E4 reruns, you can just use it here. Or if you have a Chansey because you use it to beat both Morimoto and Cynthia, you can use it here. Is to have interchangeable Pokemon with different strategies and different money-making methods, so that you don't have to waste a lot of money, and so that they are a good investment to have, because you can use them for different reasons. You are not specifically using them for red fight. So now let's get into the Pokemon specifically. First of all, we are not breaking Species Clause, which is one of the possible nerfs that the developers may do to the red fight that we may not be able to do, to nerf the moveset strat mainly. Same with Item Clause. We're not using multiple of the same item. We are using Eviolite Chansey, Choice Scarf Chandelure, and Air Balloon Cloyster. So we're pretty safe there too. For the Pokemons, very straightforward Chansey. We have Bold Nature because it boosts our defense while also reducing our useless attack stat. A plus special attack nature Chandelure, that's all you need. Don't use Quiet though, use Modest, Rash, or Mild. Any of those three work. And an attack boosting nature Cloyster, which is the classic for your typical trainer rerun. Adamant, Lonely, or Naughty. But all of those three work. As for items, obviously, Chansey will have the Eviolite because it's not fully evolved. Chandelure is gonna have Choice Scarf because it's his best option. And Cloyster, or your setup sweeper of choice, will have an Air Balloon. Now we move forward. We are gonna check the EVs for each of them. It's very straightforward. Chansey, 252 defense is very straightforward. You want to not die to any physical move. Psyshock from Espeon and Body Slam from Snorlax mainly. Also, this is the important part, 252 special defense. This is so that you cannot get two-shot by a Pikachu, because a red Pikachu is the notorious part that it gets Nasty Plot boost, and it also has Lipole, and it has the Pikachu partner Pikachu base stats, which means it has base 75 special attack, boosted by the 252 EVs that it invests. It reaches 996 special attack, which is fucking broken, but obviously it's just a red fight, so it's once a week, you don't have to be really bothered with it. So mainly that. If you were to do that, obviously there's no problem with it. And the remaining go in HP. This is also a deterrent, so that the only Pokemon that Red wants to send in against Chansey outside of the lead matchup is Snorlax, because since we don't have the HP investment, we are gonna take more percentage damage from Body Slam. Not flat damage, because flat damage we're taking the same, because we're only reducing our HP. But since we have the special defense, we are disincentivizing the use of Charizard, Venusaur, and Espeon. Funnily enough, even though Espeon has Psyshock. And the only options that remain are Blastoise because it has Water Spout Rain, Snorlax because it's a physical attacker, and Pikachu, but unless Pikachu is already out on the field, is not gonna send in Pikachu, because the red AI doesn't see that it gets a free Nasty Plot boost. So the most damage that it normally sees is 23%, which gets out damaged by Snorlax. So that's the reason why. Chandelure, very straightforward, 252 special attack, 252 speed, and the remainder doesn't matter. It could be attack, it could be HP, it could be defense, it could be special defense. It doesn't matter where the other 6 remaining go. Don't waste them, they could be useful. And also for Cloyster, very straightforward, 252 attack, 252 speed. The remainder 6 don't matter. In the case of Cloyster, of course, if you're using, for example, Volcarona, because you want to, you go 252 special attack and 252 speed, with the remainder in whatever you prefer. Very straightforward. As for the IVs, it's very straightforward once again. Chansey we want 3 times 31 in both HP and both defenses, because it needs to tank. And also the offensive stat doesn't matter. I will say though, for Chansey, don't go with a minus speed nature. Don't go relaxed, don't go sassy. We need the speed to be able to naturally outspeed Snorlax and use a move that I'm gonna show in momentarily. Chandelure very straightforward, 2 times 31 in special attack and speed. Attack doesn't matter, HP doesn't matter, defense doesn't matter, special defense doesn't matter. I will say though, if you have very low at HP and defense, you are risking dying to Earthquake crit, which could be annoying, but it's not the end of the world. And finally, Cloyster, very straightforward, 31 attack, 31 speed, the rest doesn't matter. I will recommend to have 25 plus at least, or 20 plus for the very minimum, so that for some reason the AI doesn't do stupid things. But other than that, you're free to go for that. And now for the movesets, very straightforward. Chansey, two moves that you will normally see in E4 reruns. Stealth Rock and Softboil, those are staples. Stealth Rock sets up the hazard that it damages every time your opponent switches a Pokemon in, which is very nice. Because it deters the use of switching into Blastoise, or it deters Red from switching infinitely, which is what we need, because if he has the freedom of switching out, we're doomed. So we're using Stealth Rock as a deterrent so he doesn't switch it out eternally. Softfoil because it's our main way of recovery. And now for the two moves that actually do something in this fight and are just not filler. Seismic Toss and Charm. Charm is a way of being able to make Snorlax not be able to fucking burn you into the sun. And also it's a way of, since you are faster, it's also a way of healing, of healing. Because if we are faster, we use Charm, it does half damage, then we can use Softfoil and not die. And Seismic Toss, because in some instances you will have to use a damaging move against either Blastoise or Snorlax, so that it stays in the case of Snorlax, or it switches out in the case of Blastoise. Just to note. Because once you do Seismic Toss once against Blastoise, it's gonna switch out, which is what we need. Mainly that. And ability, Natural Cure, because as you will see, since we're playing around a lot of damage from Body Slam paralysis and Thunder paralysis, we need to be able to heal the paralysis in some instances. From Chandelure, we go Trick, because that's the way we're gonna trap the Snorlax and be able to set up Sweep with our Air Balloon Sweeper, which is Cloyster. Shadow Ball, because it one-shots both Espeon. It one-shots Espeon even through Light Screen from Venusaur, which it shouldn't be up in the first place, but if it is, you do. And Flamethrower, one-shots, I will say this list, one-shots partner Pikachu, Venusaur through Light Screen, if you have Flash Fire Boost and it's in the sun, and you one-shot Charizard with Flash Fire Boost under the sun, guaranteed. So it has a lot of work to do, but it's not mainly for that. If you need to do so, you do so. If not, doesn't matter. And last move doesn't matter really. I would have said to use like, how to say it? If I would have initially said that you should use an Energy Ball in this slot, but then I realized that plus Special Attack Nature Chandelure gets outsped by a Blastoise, by Scarf Blastoise, because he has Timid Nature. And going plus Speed Nature doesn't let you kill the Pokemon that you want to kill, mainly Pikachu. So we're not gonna care about the last slot for move. And finally, Cloister, very straightforward. In this case, is Cloister gonna be our sweeper? If it's Volcarona, obviously you're gonna give it Quiver Dance and the better moveset that it has. In the case of Cloister, very straightforward. Icy-Could Peer, the best staple in the fucking universe. Since we are setting up on Snorlax, we don't care about neither Thick Fat or Reflect. But if we were to set up on other Pokemons like, I don't know, Venusaur, in that case we will use Rock Blast and raise the 10% miss, just so you are aware. And finally, Shell Smash is our setup move. It's a +2 attack and +2 speed, which means we will have to click the boosting move thrice, and then we can start sweeping, which is pretty nice. It saves a bit of time. And now I'm gonna show you the fight. Very straightforward. It's not gonna be that hard. Like, also I like to have recommendations for this fight also with this team. I will, if you want to have some failsafe against red, and you don't have the faith of being able to have RNG in your favor. What you can do, if he has Leaf Pikachu, you can switch out into a Choice Scarf Earthquake user and just kill it. It has to be a ground type though, so like Excadrill or Garchomp or Crocodile. But I will recommend that. Also, you can use Choice Specs. Also, in that slot, you can also use Choice Specs, Volt Absorb, Hidden Power Ground, Jolteon, if you really want to. Or you can use Motor Drive, Earthquake, Electivire. But if you don't have the faith in humanity to be able to 1v1 the Pikachu using Chansey, you can do that as a failsafe. Or you can use a Shitmon that you can sack. For example, in this example, I'm gonna use Honchkrow as my sack into Pikachu, so that I can switch out. So that I can freely go into Cloister or Chandelure or Chansey again, which is what I need. And now I'm gonna show you the fight. This is a showcase. I'm gonna disconnect the moment I am in the last Pokemon when I am in the checkmate position, because after this I want to actually do my money. Okay, he lead with Snorlax, which is best case. Also, let's see if he cheats, because Snorlax Red likes to cheat in the first three turns of the game. Oh, it didn't cheat. Nice. It didn't cheat. No way. Okay, so now we can do that. We got Paralyzed, which is annoying, but doesn't matter really. We can set up Stealth Rock, so it is a deterrent on switching out. We can now switch into our Chandelure. We're gonna go Body Slam, misses. Then I can switch back into my Chansey to see if it goes for Earthquake or if it switches out. It uses Earthquake. Okay, that's good to know. It critted me, so that's annoying. Now it switches out. It goes to Espion, which is a bit annoying, but we will manage. We're gonna go Soft Boil. After this, we're gonna do Seismic Toss. It's his Seismic Toss. 36%, it's not bad. We're gonna do 37, which is a bit of over half. Now we're gonna just spam Soft Boil until the sun explodes. At this point, you can also sack something to switch into Chandelure and kill it. So if you don't want to be eternally waiting here, what you can do, for example, is I'm just gonna I do showcase. Oh wait, it switches out. Lemao. It switched out. No. Okay. Wow, that's annoying. I didn't want it to switch out. Well, that's a problem. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm just gonna pretend he didn't switch out. I'm just gonna sack it. I'm just gonna spam Stealth Rock with Nosepass here. Okay, I wasted my fucking berry. That's annoying, but oh well. I'm just gonna fucking waste my time here. I'm just gonna sack the Nosepass, because I want to show how this fight should be played out. So we're gonna go back Chansey. We're gonna go for Charm. We're gonna go for Body Slam because it's his best damaging move. Body Slam does damage. I switch out to Chandelure, Body Slam, I'm unaffected, Reflect Ward off, I'm gonna go Trick, you're gonna go for Earthquake, then I can go to my setup sweeper, which is Cloyster, and then win. Very straightforward. Obviously, I didn't want the fucking Espion to switch out for the showcase, but if it does, it doesn't really matter. Now we switch into Cloyster. It sees that it gets a kill on the Chandelure because of, anyway, the Earthquake. And now we just set up Selma 3 times and win. Very straightforward. The reason why we use Charm is that it becomes a 2-hit KO on Chandelure and not a and it doesn't one-shot it, because if it one-shots, then it's gonna switch out, which we don't want to do. We don't want him to do that. Just to be clear. Also, the Espion should have stayed in against the Chansey, but I don't know why it didn't. That's why it's good to have sack mons. If you want to sack some mons, like you can do that. There's no problem with that. I just don't prefer to do so, and I would prefer to be consistent with you only using 3 mons, but I mean, you have to bring failsafes against red. Sometimes his AI is so stupid that you need to have failsafes. Also, I'm just realizing that his genders are fucking fixed. Pikachu is always female, Espion is always male. What is this? Wait, what? Okay, this is interesting. Venusaur is always male. Interesting. Yeah, it's very straightforward, this version. It's like, you try to 1v1 everything as long as possible with Chansey. If it leads with Pikachu, you can either 1v1 it, or you can switch into your choice card ground type with Earthquake and kill it that way. But mainly, like, yeah. And once you get in a position where the Snorlax is stayed in, you switch to Chandelure, you trick him, and then you switch back into your setup Cloyster and win. It's very straightforward. I don't mind it. Now, for what team I do recommend, I don't know. If you want a safer bet, I will recommend you to get these 3 mons. A Gym Rerun Cloyster, a Chandelure level 100 with plus special attack nature, and a 3x31 Chansey. If you want a safer bet, go for that. If you want to go for a cheap bet, you can go Honchcrow plus Nosepass. Obviously, the cost here is that Nosepass needs to have Lomberries, which, I mean, they cost you 1k a fucking week, so, you know, it's fucking cheap. But yeah, like, if you want something that, like, gives you more team slots to be able to give the Legend Ribbon, which, spoilers, I have, like, if you want to have extra Pokemon with the Legend Ribbon and you don't mind using a Shitmon with like Nosepass, you can very finely use these 2 mons. Like, doesn't really matter. And if you want something that is more fail-safe, you can use these 3. Also, before I end this video, I just want to say the reason why he didn't switch out from Snorlax, even though he couldn't hit me at all, is because he sees my input on Shell Smash, and no matter what he does, everything dies, except for like Blastoise, but Blastoise doesn't kill me back. So it sees that it's pointless, and also it sees that Snorlax is useless. So he doesn't want to have a useless Pokemon in the back. That's the main reason why he didn't switch out Snorlax. So yeah. That's why it's very important to trick the Snorlax and be able to win. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy farming red.